Hey, what's up, everybody? Working on a 2002 Silverado. This will also apply to basically any 99 through '06 GM trucker SUV, like Sierras, Silverados, Suburbans, Tahoes, Escalades, all of those. We're gonna go ahead and do upper ball joints on it, and I'm gonna show you how to knock that out real easy. All right, guys. So once you got your vehicle jacked up and got your wheel off, first thing we're going to start doing is we got to get this upper control arm separated from the knuckle. So we need to get everything out of the way that could be damaged once these release from each other. So first thing, we're going to undo this ABS connector from this bracket, and then we'll undo it here and here. And then it's just pushed in up there, and then you unplug it, and then we're going to undo this actual bracket, get this brake line off of here, and then the same thing on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and knock those out. These are just 10 millimeters here, and all of these ABS wire things, they're just clips. You can just use a pocket screwdriver to get those off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick, and then I'll show you the next step. All right, so I got my ABS wire all disconnected. I'm just going to pull it over to this side and get it out of the way. Undid these. This one broke up here. Very common, not a big deal. We can just zip tie that up once we're done. Now we're going to get this out of the way. Make sure it's not contacting the arm so that once this arm releases, it doesn't flip up and pull on the hose. So next thing we're going to do now is we're going to undo. You can see it. The bolt right here for the upper ball joint. I believe it's an 18 millimeter. So what we're going to do is we're going to undo it all the way, and then we're going to thread it back on just a little bit so that when we break this free from the knuckle, it doesn't just fly up. When we break the upper control arm free, it doesn't just fly up. It'll catch on that nut first. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. All right, so I got this nut undone. Make sure you thread it off all the way, just so you know that it's not going to get stuck again. And then just screw it back on a little bit. I also took a bungee cord just to hold this brake line out of the way. Now I'm going to take a hammer. I'm going to hit the knuckle right there and try and release this ball joint. All right, now that I got it to release, you can see it's moving. So I'm going to take a pry bar, get underneath the frame here so I can push it down and take that nut off. All right, now that we got this released, you're going to want to check right up under here. Make sure there's not a snap ring. If the ball joint's been replaced before, there's a good chance there'll be a snap ring there. This is a factory ball joint, so there's no snap ring. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to set up the press to get this off. So you're going to take a cup that will fit right over the ball joint. Allow the ball joint to move up into it without contacting it. And then you're going to use this adapter so that you can have the end of your press push down onto it. And then you're not going to put anything underneath. We're just going to use the bottom of the press to push it up. So I'm going to get this all set up. I'll show you what it looks like, and we'll start removing it. All right, so this is what it looks like. I'm going to get a 21 millimeter socket for up there. And then I'm going to get, because you can't get onto it with an impact, I'm going to use my big 2-foot long ratchet. I'm going to try and set this camera up so you guys can see what I'm doing as I do it. No promises though. Alright, I know that's not the best view. But we're going to go ahead and start tightening this down. I'm not sure if it's moving yet. I'm gonna loosen it and check it. Might have to pull this boot off of the ball joint. Let's see real quick. Oh, no, it's coming up. Let me show you guys real quick. See, it pressed up. A lot of times you'll get a big snap noise when it finally breaks free. I didn't hear that, so I wasn't sure if it was moving. All right. So once you get to that point, what's happening is the bottom of the press that's pushing up is hitting the arm. So now we need to find something that will go in the hole where the ball joint is as well. So like a socket. Actually, what should I use? I'm going to use this adapter, and what this does is it will sit right here in your ball joint press and then catch the stud. All right, and then now I'm going to tighten it down again. It's probably not going to take much more and this thing's going to pop out. Yep, right there. Pretty sure that just released. Yep. And just like that, the old one's out. Now, mine is very rusty, so I'm going to take a brush. Trying to show you this. I'm going to take a brush and clean all this out. Make sure that new ball joint goes in okay. All right. Now your new ball joint may or may not have this. So if you can see on mine, it's got this little hole here. So that hole needs to be facing towards you. When you're installing this, it needs to be facing out towards you. That way the ball joint will move correctly. It'll move in and out, not backwards and forwards. So the very first thing you want to do after you get your thing all cleaned, your arm all cleaned, is you want to get it in there. I like to just give it a couple taps. You got to make sure these things go in straight. So this is what I'm doing. I'm taking this adapter, and that's going to sit right on top of the ball joint. Oops. And it's going to press in like that. And then I'm going to take this one, and it's got a hole in the bottom of it. That way the stud will go through it, and then it'll go through the hole on the bottom of the ball joint press. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to push this in. Remember, like I said, you want to make sure that this ball joint presses in correctly, straight. So you're going to want to check it frequently and make sure it's still going in nice and straight. It should go in fairly easy. And as you can see, that ball joint's nice and flush. So now we got to put our boot on, and then we got to put our snap ring in and our grease fitting. So we're going to put the boot on, and then the snap ring will go over that. Actually, no, I'm going to put the snap ring on first, then the boot, and then the grease fitting up top. Alright, so I got my snap ring in place up there, put the boot on, put the grease fitting in. Now I'm going to reconnect it to the knuckle here. But before you do that, if you moved your brake line out of the way like I did, it's got to come back under here to this side. And then the way we're going to do this is kind of how we released it. We're just going to take a pry bar, get it under the frame here, and we're going to pry it down into here. We're just going to have to use both hands to get it in the right spot. And then we'll thread our nut onto it so it holds into place. Alright, so I got it started. Now we're going to tighten this up and get our cotter pin in. Now be careful, a lot of times with the aftermarket ball joints, they do change the size of the nut. So make sure you got the right size before you go tighten it down. Sometimes they go a size smaller down to a 17, and then once you get it tight enough, you'll end up busting your knuckles on something because it slips. Let me go ahead and tighten that up. Get my cotter pin in. Alright, I got my cotter pin in. Remember, when you're tightening up this castle nut, never loosen it to line up the hole for the cotter pin. Only tighten it, don't ever loosen it. So now, only things left to do, reattach your brake line and then your ABS wire. I'm going to leave my ABS wire off because I'm also going to be doing this bearing. But that's it. Tighten, put these things back on, the ABS wire and the brake line. Grease your ball joint. Throw your wheel back on and you're done. That's as simple as it is. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like my content, please like and subscribe. Later.